Hello everyone, it's Rick. It is Saturday morning, March 18th, 2017. If you need to reach me, it is rick0327 at me.com. Alright, the purpose of this video blog is to give an update, hope, encouragement. Anybody sitting on the fence thinking, I don't know if, I want to make a donation for the paperwork because I'm not sure. I understand. Listen, I don't have a problem with that. I get it. But I will tell you that there's a success story. There's me. I got mine vacated. We had James in Ohio. Okay, they dismissed it. They backed off. Got an email this morning from somebody who was one employer stopped taking the money out of his wages after receiving the cease and desist. Yesterday, Juan C. in Florida, and I'm going to post this when I do a video this weekend. Let me finish this thought. And Juan went into court yesterday in Miami and filed the demand to vacate, and they accepted, no problem. And it's the demand to vacate that he got from me, and he just added his information. Now, when you get this stuff, read it, and if you read it, it doesn't, it's crafted in such a way that it explains why it's the support order has to be vacated. Okay, I touch on a lot of things, but it may not be to what happens to you or whatever your situation is. So it's up to you to craft it to suit you. Maybe you're not dealing with a paternity issue, so anything that's in there, delete it. And anything that doesn't, suit your case, delete it. If you want to shorten it, shorten it. You can do whatever you want with it. It's yours. It's not going to affect the outcome. What I did was I made this back in December. It was like, newly off my win, a couple weeks removed. And I put a lot of stuff in there, a lot. That's why it was like 27 pages and 14 point, the wording, double space. If it had been 12, it would have been like 36 pages. But, I cover a lot of things. And the reason why I do that is I just want to show these people, like, listen, you don't have a chance here. I mean, when you deny, how are you going to explain why you're denying this demand to vacate? It's impossible. And what I also touched on is see, when you go for these support hearings, in front of this New York support magistrate, California, it's a commissioner, Pennsylvania, it's a judge, or in Maryland it's an associate judge, all these things. But here's the thing with judges. If a judge is overseeing an administrative process, he is or she is an administrative judge. You see how that works? If he or she is presiding over a judicial matter, he or she is a judicial judge. Real simple stuff. they're performing, they're ministerially performing their duties. Now, here's the thing: a support magistrate, a commissioner, they cannot perform judicial acts because they're not judicial officers. So, let's say you have a support issue arising out of divorce. Well, they have no business addressing it. None. Because it's a contract. A divorce agreement is a contract. So it's not an administrative process. It's a judicial process because it was a contract negotiated and agreed upon during civil proceedings. Now, in the package, I touched on, I give 14 affidavits, all right? But I also give what I call study materials. I give you a lot of stuff, a lot of PDFs that I got from the internet. A lot of them is the chapters of the essentials for attorneys. Now, these is the Bible for what lawyers are supposed to do in support hearings. And I put the ones that are important in the package. And probably tomorrow, I'm gonna do a video breaking down chapter 6. Chapter 6 deals with expedited judicial and administrative processes. Okay? I just touched on them. Judicial would be a divorce. Administrative would be the paternity, establishment of support for unwed mothers. Okay? Children born of unwed mothers who are supposed to be receiving public assistance. But they aren't. A lot of them aren't. Some of them aren't. And even then, you still gotta say to them, all right, well, why do I have to pay support? Where is this law? The law is because they say so. But that's the reason why they need to establish paternity. Is because their claim is, well, they're not going to tell you this, but their claim is the state has been supporting your offspring, and we're trying to get our money back. That's the reason for the loan, the debt, and I touched on the other day when I was showing you the law in New York where it said parents' duty to support. Well, what I meant to do it, but I forgot. Duty, when you look up the word duty, a duty is like it's a repayment of a debt. There's that word again, debt. And what's part of my package, the affidavit, is the validation of debt. And yesterday I got a couple of emails from guys that they're having a hard time. Remember I was talking a couple of days ago that we know we're on the right track because the responses are they're more apt to give a shady response and just provide you the information you're demanding. Now, if they're doing everything legally as they claim they are, then what is the hassle here? Now, if you have a credit card and, let's say you're disputing a charge on a credit card, what are you doing? You're validating the debt. It's the same thing. So what is, MasterCard or Visa? What are they going to do? You know what they do? They'll say on such and such a date, you made a purchase here, and here it is. You got to pay, and that's it. Except with child support, they start doing, well, the court says that child support is not a consumer debt, and we don't have to validate, which is bullshit. And then on the income withholding order, you'll see on the back it references CCPA, the Consumer Credit Protection Act, that it's guided by that. Now, you look up the Consumer Credit Protection Act, and you know what shows up? The Federal Fair Debt Collection, FDPA. And what are we trying to do? We're trying to validate the debt, the Fair Debt Collection, Fair Debt law. That's the reason why. And they push back by saying, well, child support is not a debt under that law. And then they'll cite some lower court decision. Now, here's the thing. Lower court decisions do not trump Supreme Court decisions. Because these lower courts, and when I say lower courts, I mean like appellate courts, Court of Appeals, but usually appellate courts. Appellate courts are just as corrupt as any other, but they're outrageous. They'll justify anything. You know, I made a reference one time, like a judge. A judge will come off the bench, walk up to somebody and punch them in the nose, and they'll say they're judicially immune. Well, the appellate courts, they do that all the time. A judge or support magistrate or commissioner, they're obviously in the wrong, and they'll find some reason why what they're doing is legal, and that's how Supreme Court cases come about. Somebody doesn't like the decision, they file an appeal. They're not happy with the appeal. They take it, they take it to federal, and onward we go, and that's how you get to the Supreme Court. Okay, and it can be done. Okay, people do it all the time. It's just frustrating. But the thing is, it says child support debt. Now, they use the law to justify what they're doing. But when we start using the law to help us to validate the debt, they don't want to do it. So what I did, I wrote the letter, for the guy yesterday, in the email. I'm like, okay, well, if it's not a consumer debt, then why am I called a customer? Why am I calling an 800 number? And the way I understand the law is if I owe a debt, a debt is as a result of a loan or a service contract. Well, that's what they're doing. They're providing a service. They're giving money, like on the public assistance and welfare for children that are not being supported by the father. And again, they take a law that applies to a small amount of people, but then the cretins that they apply it to everybody so they can make money. And that's what it's all about. All right. So again, I'm going to be closing this video down, but I just want to give everybody, a little hope that, we're having little victories here and there. Again, we're dealing with criminals. I'm just, it's hard to, it's hard to win. Look at the president. The president is trying to pass a law that he has every right to do, and he's got a judge who, by the way, the judge just so happened to be a classmate, and he's from Hawaii, so he just so happens to be a classmate of Barack Obama. What a coincidence. But even the Donald Trump, the president of the United States, he's having a hard time getting a law that he has every right to pass. And it's a judge they're abusing their power to interpret what he said while he was running for president, when it's not based on the evidence before them. Okay? And listen, I'm happy that this is going on, because I'm happy that maybe this keeps going on, and this will bring a light to these judges being out of control. Maybe we get lucky down the road, and a light is shined on these judges being fucking maniacs, just doing whatever the hell they think they can. Well, they are doing, but maybe they get in trouble. All right, but one guy got the demand to vacate, entered yesterday in court. I know people are getting it in, but I'm just letting people know that haven't gotten it yet that they are accepting them. All right? And once it's in the court, right? And then it's, they're going to probably deny it. Then you file the objection, but it's in the court. You have a chance now. When you're home and you're just complaining about it, and listen, nobody complained more than me, so I'm not saying that you're wrong for complaining. But, I let this go on for a long time myself, and then finally I got off my ass. I told the story already. I found the Amin Osiris videos, and it encouraged me because I'm like, a lot of you probably in your head, it's wrong, and you have your idea. Then you listen to my video, you listen to his video, and you're like, holy shit, that's what I thought too. Now you know that you're right. All right? And you have somebody validating. I'm validating. Osiris is validating that, and other channels, that what they're doing is wrong. But you're not going to win unless you do something about it. And the best way to do it is through the courts, using their language, using their rules and procedures. And what I did was I used in the Vacate, I referenced the Chapter 6, Essentials for the Attorney, Expedited Judicial and Administrative Processes. That's their own words. How are they going to argue with that if they're not following their own procedures? That's the reason why I stay away from the common law stuff and other stuff that's out there. I'm not saying they're wrong, but you're better off winning using their words and their procedures, because the other stuff, they know about these people. They know about the common law stuff coming. They know about other stuff. That's the reason why they wrote a manual, about sovereign people called the Lawless One. They're not going to let you win that. Trust me, guys. They're not going to let us win because they know that there's a growing movement of that. So let's just stick to the facts, to the laws, and their procedures. If they break their own procedures, which we know they are, and we can prove it, we stand a chance. They'd rather let individual people like us, who are not standing behind a particular method, like common law or other stuff. I'm not going to criticize. I'm not criticizing. I think it's all useful stuff. But in our case, I just think it's the better to stick to the facts and the mere fact that their rules and procedures that they have on paper and on their websites is really just window dressing to make it look like what they're doing is legal. But they're not. But even they're not following that. All right, and then we're going to show. Oh, by the way, it says here, 45 CFR 303.101, C subsection 2 says they must provide due process. Yeah, but they didn't. You went to court. It's a kangaroo court. You'd speak up, they would ignore you, and they just hammer you with an order. Then the order is it's not signed by a clerk. It's not recorded with the clerk's office and the county clerk, and onward we go. And this is what we're doing. All right, listen, I hope everybody has a good day. Hope everybody realizes that you got a chance. But you're not going to have a chance unless you start the ball rolling, as I call it. All right, guys, have a nice weekend.